Hey, hey folks, it's your man Manny. I'm here with Penn. Penn is an interesting mix. He's like a German Shepherd Rat Terrier mix, and his owners have done a great job training him, but they're still working on mastering his behavior in high distraction environments, in particular like around dogs. He's one of these dogs where if you don't have food or he doesn't have the leash on, it can be hard to get through to him. And even with the leash on, he can be distracted. Now he's wearing a prong collar. It's actually a 1.5 millimeter prong collar, believe it or not, which is really designed for a 10 or 15 pound dog. And although using these tinier prong collars, I've seen a lot of trainers use 2 millimeter prong collars, 1.5 millimeter prong collars on bigger dogs because it does poke more. It hurts more. That's why they use them. We want to be clear that we're using it the right way, even if we are using a 2.2 or a 1.5 millimeter prong collar, that we're doing it the right way. If we want to, not be completely dependent on the prong collar forever, have a dog that obeys and listens without the prong collar, have a dog that listens off leash and on leash, and a dog that functions well in high distraction areas without us needing to remind them or constantly correct them. Basically, you want to get a dog to the point where, like, my dogs are at. Okay? So, all the dogs we've done a really good job training, that's where they're at now. So, one of the things to think about with this dog is just the idea of how this prong collar works in the context of obedience commands, namely sit. So, I'm holding the leash with 2 fingers, applying pressure upward, and I'm waiting until he sits. Good. I'm not using food on purpose with this dog because this isn't a very high distraction area. Sit. Good. Sit. Good. And also, he's not, in my opinion, doing really good. Sit. That warrants a food reward. If anything, the food, I think, might just create excitement, and it's just going to make him obey because he realizes I have treats, which is not what I'm asking. Sit. Now, this phase of training, folks, is probably the most boring of all phases. Okay? Notice how he pulls away when I tighten the leash and he backs up. Sit. Okay, I want him to understand when I pull up on the leash, there's only one thing I'm asking, one thing alone, and that's sitting. Sit. Now, at this point, I'm not really that concerned that he's looking at me. Sit. I'm not giving him a lot of attention right now on purpose because he's not giving me a lot of attention. So if I'm giving my dog a tremendous amount of attention, I'm looking at them and staring at them, I would hope that they're looking and staring back at me with the same level of obsessiveness that I'm looking at them. But oftentimes with these reactive dogs, we notice they're getting a tremendous amount of attention when they're ignoring us, either us jostling the leash, saying their name, looking at them. Obi. Enough, Obi. Enough, Obi. I mean, and this is a case in point with Obi here, of me just going, Obi, no one wants to play with you. Sit. And Obi back there just goes, oh, okay. It's super important that I'm communicating with this dog right now that, Penn, you don't need to stay seated because there's going to be a harsh consequence. And you don't need to stay seated because I'm going to give you a reward. The sitting's not contingent on, hey, are you going to pull the leash really hard and force me if I don't do it? Or, hey, are you going to give me food? Nope. Sit. Good. It's so important I'm not using high levels of pressure with this collar because it is a very pokey collar. And although he might obey, he's not really going to understand how to listen without the collar one day. And I will have this disconnect where with the collar not on, he's not performing as I would hope. Now keep in mind, there's like 12 dogs behind me, just all relaxing. None of them are fixated on him right now, but he's fixated, on them. You could see someone showing up to my property right now. There's 12 dogs. There's not a single bark. Folks, this is all a result of a lot of this stuff. Sit. Good. Now, this isn't everything when it comes to training. This is just one part of mastering the prong collar, which is understanding a low level of pressure. Or no. Waiting. No. Sit. And not releasing the pressure until he does the command. The big thing I want him to understand with this prong collar right now is, like I said, you're not anticipating a reward, anticipating that a consequence is coming. I'm not, you don't anticipate a release. We're really just hanging out, and you're holding a sit command, and that's all that's happening. And believe it or not, folks, this would be one session. You can see here, he on his own just decided to lay down. He on his own decided, hey, I think I am just kind of settling here. Maybe this is a bigger picture than just sit. Maybe he's telling me, hey, Penn, we're not going anywhere, man. We're not leaving. We're not going up to dogs. We're just chilling. And I'm not going to correct you or give you a reward. You'll notice my body language is staying super neutral. That's on purpose. Because this is the body language I would have if I'm standing there talking to someone, or if I'm, just hanging out. I want him to understand we're just basically hanging out. And although it may help you now for me to put you in a sit, eventually I don't want to have to put you in a sit. I want you to just do this, which is stay near me and don't go away from me when you see things that are interesting to you. You can bring them out. So let's see how he does now, because my helper is going to bring some dogs by. Let's see how he does after this session, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what am I doing as the dogs approach, and we enter into a higher distraction level right now. Once again, I'm purposefully staying super calm. I'm not getting excited, and I'm also not getting really assertive or grumpy or mad with him, frustrated. That's not to say I'm not ever going to get frustrated with a dog. Sit. No. So you see how I'm applying pressure here, and he doesn't understand, just sit. Pen. No. Sit. Good. So, no. Sit. So what we need to master with him right now, we can see, is, hey, just sit when a dog goes by. Nope. Sit. It's not possible for you to greet the dog. It's not really possible for you to do anything else other than sit. Nope. Sit. Once again, I should just be using 2 fingers of pressure and really mastering how much pressure does it take to communicate with him. Hey, this is the pressure. You do what I ask, the pressure goes away. Now that last time was a little more pressure than the past few repetitions. But I'm still not forcing him, I'm waiting. Sit. And this is a training session, folks. 5 minutes, 10 minutes in length. And no matter how good he does, he's not getting access to the dogs. In another session, I might give him access, but in this session, I already decided at the beginning of the session, their only reward is going to come when I see you've stopped hoping for a reward. When you've completely just accepted that you're just going to be sitting here and that's all there is to it, then we could talk about going to say hi for dogs. But right now, he's like a kid on the way to Disneyland going, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? And essentially, I'm telling him, hey, man, go to sleep. Turn your brain off. Go and do a command. And, hey, then we will be there when you wake up. So that's all, folks. You can see I'm not obsessed with him holding the command. I'm just being consistent that you've been put in a command, you're going to stay in the command. And I'll put you back in the command. It's okay. So that's all. Right now, I'm probably pet him, cool down with him for 4 or 5 minutes, tell him, hey, good job, man, you did great. Like, that was really hard. You're usually used to getting access to dogs, or you're used to, not, maybe me being able to move forward. And you can see even here, as I try to pet him, he wants nothing to do with me. And so, like, no, I'm not, once again, like, I'm not giving him a lot of attention or petting this dog right now. He just told me right there, I don't want anything to do with you, man, I want the dogs. Well, Penn, that's not going to work out. So remember, as always, folks, we don't blame them, we train them. That doesn't mean we don't hold them accountable. That doesn't mean we don't use prong collars. That just means we don't blame them, and we don't blame ourselves either. We're all doing the best that we can. And, if you ever need any help, you can find me online, followtheleaderk9.com. And if you're ever struggling emotionally with this process, check out my poetry book, Loving, Losing, and Leading, Stories from the Dogs That Trained Me. That's on Amazon. Okay, as always, folks, we love you all, and your dog's so lucky to have you as their human. Until next time, folks, we'll see you then. Bye.